Om Tat Sat. My humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman, to my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananji Maharaj, to Sage Narada and all sages and saints, and to each of you, divine soul, watching today's satsang. So today we will be covering part number 3 of Sutra number 38. It's from chapter 2 of the Glory of Supreme Devotion from Narada Bhakti Sutras, commentaries by my Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananji Maharaj, and narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So let us get to part 3. Today we are going to discuss the favor of grace argument. As you know, we are talking about the four kinds of grace, and yesterday we had covered why self effort is needed. Today we will cover why grace is needed, and these are different viewpoints in the scriptures from sages and saints. So according to this view, even the tendency to strive for self realization is due to God's grace alone. As we have said before, God's grace falls through his blessing, and if his grace is not there, we would not even be you would not even be listening to this satsanga. So the mere fact you're listening to this satsanga is that God is putting you on this path, or giving you some inclination to start looking at these things. It's his grace that's making it possible. It's his grace that's putting you on the holy path. So this view is advanced by those who wish to help aspirants avoid a common error based on a misunderstanding of self-effort, because self-effort generally confuses people. Many aspirants cling to their ego in the name of self-effort, continuing to intensify their egoism, pride, and conceit. Unfortunately, those defects come when you think you are putting in a lot of self-effort and it is much more than others, and so therefore our ego somehow gets inflated. Therefore, in order to infuse humility and to show the need of self-effacement, sages have highlighted grace as the one and only ruling force in human existence. That is the proponents of grace, they think like that. An aspirant, however, must seek divine grace by prayer, meditation, surrender, and other spiritual disciplines. So while the clouds rain in torrents, an inverted cup does not receive even a drop of water. On the other hand, if the cup is upright, it will be full to the brim, and it overflows with water. So, in the same manner, though there is always a torrential rain of divine grace, always, the heart is most people, it's like an inverted cup. They haven't done the effort to straighten the cup, therefore they don't receive the grace, and then they complain why they are so unhappy. On the other hand, devotees who have rendered their hearts pure attain an abundance of divine grace. So therefore, even in this argument, it is implied that you have to keep the cup upright, because God's not going to straighten the cup for you. You have to do it. It's your cup. So therefore, even in divine grace, this self-effort is implied. But what we are saying is that to completely annihilate our ego, it gives the entire credit to divine grace. Through that grace, we are able to straighten our cup, in other words. So this is Swami Nikhilananda, and we will cover part number 4 tomorrow in satsang. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Om Tat Sat.